Now that concludes medical for the OCR A-level, and that's where I'm going to leave it. So if you are studying the AQA medical option paper, you do have more topics on your A-level. Please make sure you cover those yourself. Whereas if you're studying Edexcel, remember, you don't need medical at all. Okay, so to wrap up today then, here is a nuclear question applied to a medical situation. Have a go at this one. Okay, now I think it's quite challenging, this one, because there's not very much structure. You've got to find your way through it yourself. So when faced with a question like this, I would just start seeing what you've got and what formulae are going to be relevant. So here we've got the molar mass. Now remember, if you're like me, if you're not a chemist, we have to remember 2 extra formulae to do with moles. And the one that's got molar mass in is this one. So the mass of a sample is equal to the number of moles times the molar mass. There we go. And then the other one is that the number of molecules is the number of moles times Avogadro's constant, which is on the formula sheet. Okay, but it doesn't look like we can do anything with those just yet, so we'll keep going. We've also got here the initial activity of the sample, and so that's A0. So A0 is 400 megabecquerels, 400 decays per second. And then the other thing we have here is the half-life. So like I said, half-life is 6,600 seconds. And then we haven't got to forget to do something with this 9.9% as well. All right, now we look at our formula booklet. We've got A0 there, we've got the molar mass, and we've got the half-life. So we look at our formula booklet and we see what we can work out. Now, remember, there are a few little formulae which are very important and they're going to help here. So first of all, we've got the half-life there, and that means that we can work out the decay constant. Okay, so we don't know if that's going to be helpful, but we can work it out, so we do. We just do what we can do, and so that is our decay constant. Okay, now when we look at the formula booklet, we see that we can do something else, because we've got an A0 and we've got a lambda. So A is lambda n. The activity is the decay constant times the number of nuclei, and so that means that the initial activity is the decay constant times the initial number of nuclei. So now we can see that we can work out what N0 is. Being very careful with your powers there, that gets you this. So this is how many radioactive nuclei there were at the beginning. And again, we didn't necessarily know that we needed that. We just worked out what we could work out, and then you see where it takes you. Now, where it's taken us is we can see that now we're really getting somewhere, because we can now use this formula up here, because we know N at the beginning and we know Avogadro's constant. And so we can use that formula to work out how many moles of the radioactive isotope there were at the beginning. Now, I don't know if it might be helpful to sort of tick off things as we go that we've used. So we've used that, we've used this formula, we've used the half-life, we've used the Avogadro's constant formula, and we've used this formula here. Okay, so what we haven't used yet is this one. So let's use that one now, and we can work out the mass of the fluorine 18. And so that gives us 1.13 kilograms, not rounding, but remember that that's the radioactive isotope. So it's 1.13 kilograms of fluorine 18. And the last piece of information that we haven't used yet is this one. Only 9.9% of this radioactive tracer is fluorine 18. So what we've just worked out, that's only 9.9% of the total given to the patient. So we need to know what was the 100%. And I've just noticed I missed my power of 10 out completely there. So putting it back in, 10 to the minus 13 there. And then we get 1.2 times 10 to the minus 12 kilograms, rounding to 2 sig fig right at the end there to match the 9.9%. Well done if you got all the way through that one. So important messages for this one, important things to remember. You may have no idea how to get through a question, but if you highlight the numbers that you're given, and then you look at your formula sheet and you write down all the formulae that are relevant, and then just start working things out. And every time you work something out, that will make another step possible, and just keep going like that. And hopefully you'll find that you at least get most of the way there, but hopefully even get all the way to the end.